Hi, everybody. Welcome to Midweek here at SFB at the Mothership downtown, where the smoke is thin and the joy is high. I don't know about you, but I think every day it's getting better. My eyes are not burning, my head is not screaming, and it's getting better. Maybe that's just my optimism. How about you? Hey, today what we would like to do is to kind of frame what's coming up in October. So we've been doing outside services for a couple of months, and they've been great, except for last week, yes. And so sorry again for those who have lost everything. We're continuing to pray, and a lot of the folks in the church are helping people with United Way. They're doing a great job, and a lot of other people. But last weekend, we just had to suspend because the air was hazardous, and so, but we're intending to be back on this weekend. But what we want to do today, and Pastor Nate is here today, and we're going to be talking about our October schedule, because we have kind of a framework on us in terms of kind of some restrictions, guidelines, and so we want to do that. So Pastor Nathan and I, we were talking today. Both of us have done some church planting work, and we were kind of reminiscing. We're reminiscing about some of the most difficult times that we have ever had in kind of just pulling off church. Yes. Probably neither of us have ever done church in a parking lot before. No. At least I haven't. No. But where were you? Now, you said it was in San Diego, right? Yes. I can't imagine anything difficult in San Diego. Yeah. But it was. Oh, it was. What made it difficult? Your church planting? Yes. Well, the challenge is the logistics, of course, of everything, which we have grown to understand here as well during this time. But the setup and the assemble and taking things down, setting things up, finding personnel, that was a challenge, a major, major challenge. There's so many things that go into building a church service every week and then removing it down to nothing again. Did you guys meet like in a gym? We met in a high school auditorium. Yes. So the seats were comfortable, but besides that, it was bringing in a sound system and... Where was your nursery? Outside. A nursery outside? San Diego. So it was really nice. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. We did a church plant years ago. And it was kind of fun. Every Sunday morning, 7 o'clock, the kids and I, we'd pile in the truck and we would go pick up a trailer and we would take it. And we had to set up all the chairs in the gym, and the nursery was in the hallway, and it had its challenges. One in particular Sunday, it was disastrous. Our kids, we don't know who was responsible for Annie, but somebody was supposed to be responsible for Annie. And all I know is that we were all in trouble when the police officer came walking up holding Annie, and he found her across the street about a half mile down the road in the middle of a park. And we were all busy setting up the chairs, and the church was ready, and Annie was down the middle of a park. I think Carrie recovered about 3 weeks later. Yeah. I really don't miss those days. No. But now we're doing church in a parking lot. So we have the privilege of another new challenge. So what's going to happen is in October, when the weather is going to kind of start to shift, and rather than wait till that rainy day, we're going to be in advance on this one and kind of prepare. So we want to move you through a couple of things. Number one, the framework, some of the, if you will, restrictions that we have on us. Number two, we want to talk about what does a weekend look like. Number three, we want to talk about where do the children go? What do I do if I have kids? And that is, don't lose them in the park. Yes. And number four is, how do I choose where I go? Because we're going to have a lot of different locations. So let's go back up and say, what are the frameworks? There's three of them. Yes. What are the three kind of guiding frameworks that we have given to us by our government? Yeah. So at the moment, we are allowed 100 people indoors to meet together. And so we plan to abide by that. Also,
separate entrances and exits, which that is also something that thankfully, given our facilities, that we can do and that we can provide. And then separate restrooms, which also thankfully we can provide that too. So we feel like we're in a really good spot to be able to really have a great experience.
So on Saturday night's going to look normal.
Yes.
You don't have to sign up for it.
That's right.
Saturday night, if that's your normal service, you come. Yeah. And we have an ingress.
That's right.
Entrance and regress. No problem. Sunday morning. Now we're to the question, what does a weekend look like?
Yes.
We've been, averaging on the 2 services quite a few outdoors, and so we are preparing to kind of entertain somewhere in the vicinity of 700 plus people. Well, how do we do that? So at 9 o'clock, we're going to have 3 locations that you can attend church.
That's correct.
And so on a weekend, where will those 3 locations at 9 o'clock, where can you go and be a part of a group of 100?
The sanctuary would be one place, also the Commons or the CLC, and then also the gym. So those 3 locations will be their own entities as far as church services happening.
So a person will show up here, park in the parking lot or over in the parking structure over at North Block somewhere, and they would come here and we will have 3 separate entrances, one for the sanctuary, one into the gym, and then another one down the pathway in for the Community Life Center over the Commons.
Exactly.
And so we'll have 3. And so at 9 o'clock, we'll have 3 locations that you can gather or sit for church, up to 100 people. Yep. And then at 11 o'clock, the same thing. In between the services, we're going to be sanitizing them. Yeah. They're going to be spaced out, just like we have the sanctuary currently. Mm-hmm. So everything's going to be separated out. So we have a Saturday, we have 100. Sunday, 9 o'clock, we have upwards of 300, yes. 3 different locations. And then at 11 o'clock, we have 3 different locations. Now, let's deal with the children. Right. When I come, let's say at 9 o'clock, if I got kids, where do I take my kids?
Well, 3rd grade will be the cutoff. So nursery to 3rd grade will be in their main classrooms that they would be in sort of, let's just refer to it as the main building where they're used to going. And that should be business as usual. Of course, still following all of the guidelines that we need to follow, but it's really going to be great. We've spent a lot of time figuring out how to make this work in a way that's safe and respectful to the rules. It's going to be great. And then also the bridge, which is grades 4 and 5, they will be in the cafe area, again, with the same opportunities to have a great Sunday school and still respect all the rules and the guidelines and keep people safe.
Okay. So as a parent, they'll come.
Yeah.
And so they'll drop off their kids in the various locations. Now, it's 9 o'clock, and I've got to find out. I've got 3 different locations that I can go to church. You got a lot of things I know you're trying to figure out. It's like, well, do we have, the same message, or what's going on? Let's first deal with, how do I find, where do I go? Do I get to choose? Do I get on a conveyor belt and they distribute me? How do I choose? Where do I go? What's going to happen?
Well, this is where, for me, it gets really exciting, because this begins the conversation and the experience of being back together in community again. And Pastor Jeff has done a great job of being in contact with all of his different teams and his community groups and small groups and home group leaders. And they are going to be deciding where they will kind of seed a group and make it their home, so to speak. So we will know that we will have a certain amount of people in each service that are sort of a family and a group that have been growing together and that will hopefully continue to do that. Then other people who are not in a group will be able to pick and choose what service they would like to. And the hope is that those groups will develop, they will become close. I'm just really excited for that.
So it'll be something like this. So let's imagine you're in the Sojourners group. Mm-hmm. They've been a community group for years. And the Sojourners leadership, they've contacted their group and they've said, you know what? We're going to go to the 11 o'clock service, and we're going to own the gym. That's going to be our home base. It's going to be our home. They're going to go in there, and they're going to that's going to be their primary service. And they're going to be the hosts of that service, and they're going to welcome people. And then whoever else joins them will join that group, and they'll be there every week hosting that site. So if you're in a community group, your community group leader is going to let you know, we're going to take the sanctuary at 9 o'clock, or we're going to be in the gym at 11 o'clock. So your community group is going to be the primary directive as to what location you're going to be. Now, you say, well, I'm not in a community group. Then we'll go to our small groups. We have over 300 people involved in small groups. Then we're going to ask your small group leaders to work in terms of your leadership and say, hey, how about you guys work as a team and say, where would we like to go, and kind of turn that location, that time, into our living room, and we host that, and we become kind of the seed that invites people to that group. If you're a small group leader, you're going to be working with Pastor Jeff to say, we're going to take the 9 o'clock in the Commons area. And you might call Pastor Jeff and just say, you know what? We don't care where you put us. You just tell us where you need us. And so after we seed all of the sections, there are 3 at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning and 3 at 11 o'clock. Then we're going to tell anybody else that's not connected to a small group, visitors, guests that are coming, say, go to any of them, and we will help distribute people in terms of where we have space. So that's how we're going to distribute it. How long will you stay there? Well, we're going to stay in these sections for a period of time. We kind of envision them through the rest of this year until we get changed. We may change after that, but we're going to do this for a while and kind of turn these locations kind of into our home so that you can welcome people. Okay? Well, what we envision happening then is we're seeing probably probably more than that, about 800 to 900 people that are coming back. And so we realize not everyone comes back every weekend, but probably about 900 people are regularly coming back to church. Then we have another group of people, probably 500 people, that are viewing us online. So we're not going to choose and say we're going to only minister to one. We're ministering to both, and we're going to do it absolutely to our best. Little challenging, but we don't think we're going to lose anyone running out in the park. That's our goal.
We hope not.
That's our goal. Okay. Have we covered everything? I think we have. We know what our framework is. We have a huge value for meeting together, and we also have a huge value for meeting the needs of people who prefer right now being at home. And so we're still going to be streaming, recording on Saturday night and streaming that live for you on the weekends. So we're, again, meeting both of those needs. We understand the framework. We know what a weekend service looks like. We know where our children go, and we will continue to communicate that via Facebook, our website, and we know how to choose the service. Community groups are going to be directing the seeding of that. Also, our small groups, if you're not involved in a community group, and then if you're not involved in any of those, feel free to choose. And if you want to call the office and say, tell me where to go, we will help you make that choice by where we know we have space. Okay? We got everything covered?
I think it's great.
It's going to be the easiest.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're planting, 7 different churches.
It is. And I really am so happy that we're able to do this, that our facilities allow, and that we've been able to, God has really given us a spirit of excitement around coming back together again. It's wonderful.
Now, my guess is probably somebody's out there going, how on earth are you going to have, do you have 7 different worship bands and 7 different, we got to leave some suspense, right? We're not going to solve everything for you. We got some plans. We got some ideas. Wait till we do communion weekend. That is going to be special.
It'll be special.
It's also going to be Special. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be great. Hey, about this weekend, yes, we're absolutely aware that predicting the smoke and the weather is really hard. We have become weather experts with our $2.99 IQ Air apps. Right now, we are expecting to have our services outside this weekend. We have an incredible weekend in store for you. Saturday night we'll be outside for the weekend. And we have baby dedications signed up for this weekend. We have 9 families, I think it's 9 families that are signed up, and it's going to be really special. When we wake up Sunday morning, if that air is hazardous, and the problem is our apps kind of declare different things. But if we look at the environmental agency and it says hazardous, we're going to roll those inside. We have air purifiers that are going. We're utilizing them for our school, and we would roll that inside so that we don't expose little children to hazardous air. But we're going to make that decision Sunday morning. We are going to have services this weekend. Our intention absolutely is to be outside. We believe because of the weather that we're going to be favorable and we'll be outside this weekend. But we will make the final decision Sunday morning when we get up and we look and see what the weather is like in terms of the air quality. We think weather-wise probably be a little chilly, so make sure you bring an extra sweatshirt or something like that. But that's when we will make that decision, because that thing, the ebb and flow, weather patterns and everything else is so hard to predict. So if it forces us, because Sunday morning maybe the weather just stalls, we can't predict that. We have no ability to do that. We would make that as a very last minute decision, and we'll roll that inside. But you can be assured, unless the rapture occurs, which, that would be so sweet, we will be on for this weekend. God bless you. Thanks, my friend. Sure good to work with you. We love you. Have a great week.